Hello, everyone, and happy Financially Lit Tuesday. Hi, everyone. I hope everyone's having an awesome Financially Lit Tuesday. Thank you for joining me. I am here every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. bringing you tips, news, and tricks on how to wealth up. So, for those of you tuned in, be sure to hit the share button and go ahead and head over to the Sipping Wealth YouTube channel so that you can hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any Financially Lit Tuesdays, y'all. All right, tonight we're going to be talking about tax deadlines and penalties. This is huge because today is a deadline. So I definitely wanted to make sure that we touch on this topic, especially today being that one, but like federal taxes and everything, as far as income taxes are due either today or a month from now. So it's definitely huge that I make sure that I update you all and so you have the actual information. So I hope everyone with partnerships and corporations, or I should say S corps, have already filed their taxes or already reached out to us to go ahead and file that extension. If you haven't filed an extension, do that ASAP. Make sure you do that or get that tax return filed today. Today's that deadline. All right, so this is for all pass-through entities. Okay, so today is the deadline to go ahead and get that filed, like I said. So for my LLCs that are that filed to be treated like an S corp, or for my corporations that are S corps, you do want to make sure that you go ahead and file the tax return or the extension. And now this is an extension to file. This is not an extension to pay. So payment is still due today. All right. So y'all go ahead and get your handy dandy notebook, all that good stuff. I'm going to go ahead and drop some deadlines and penalties and all that with you. So for quarter one, which is January through March, January 18th, you do have the deadline for your fourth payment of the estimated tax payment. So for those of you that are 1099 contractors, if you're self-employed, or if you're a business owner, you should be making estimated tax payments quarterly. Okay, so January 18th was the fourth quarter estimated tax payment deadline to go ahead and make sure that you do that for the 2021 tax year. All right, if you didn't make that payment, of course, it's too late. You should go ahead and mention it on your tax return and everything like that. But you're subject to a penalty if you don't make those estimated tax payments. So make sure that you do submit that fourth quarter by, usually it's around January 15th, January 18th for this year. All right. So January 31st is the deadline for employers or 1099 or business owners to go ahead and submit the W-2s and 1099s. So this could be 1099 miscellaneous. This could be 1099 NECs, so non-employee compensation, whatever the case may be. Get those 1099s out, W-2s out, or you're subject to that penalty plus interest, right? March 15th, which is today, whoop, whoop. Like I said, is the deadline to file your partnership and S corp tax return. All right, or go ahead and extend the deadline to file. You can't do that, and it gives you a 6-month extension. So that is quite a bit of time. So if you haven't gone, if you feel like, man, I still have to get some paperwork in order, whatever the case may be, make sure that you go ahead and file that extension. All right. So the deadline to provide each partner or shareholder with their Schedule K1. So for my business owners that have partnerships or that have S corps, you have to make sure you get your partners or shareholders their copy of their K1 by today. Right. All right. Also, today is the deadline to go ahead and file your form 2553, and that's to be treated as an S corp for the 2022, which is this year, tax year. Okay, so if you want to be considered an S corp for this year, of 2022, you want to make sure that you go ahead and get that paperwork filed ASAP. Like it should have already been faxed to the IRS. All right. So if the election is made after this date, then you have to either send in reasoning behind why you're late and kind of, basically ask the IRS to go ahead and try to um, consider you for an S corp, but basically you won't be considered an S corp until the 2023 calendar year, which is next year. All right. So you still can file for it. You just won't be considered for it this year. All right, for Q2, all right, second quarter, this is April to June. So April 18th this year is tax day. So this is when tax returns, tax filings are due. Tax payments are due. So if you owe the IRS for last year, tax year for 2021, payment is due by April 18th. Okay, this is my individuals. This is my LLCs. This is my 1099 contractors, my corporations, my C corporations. All right, these are these entities. So you have to make sure that you pay the IRS by this date, or and then that you also make an extension, or you go ahead and file your tax return by this date. Okay. All right. Deadline for 2022's first estimated tax payment. All right. So this is the first estimated tax payment for you to go ahead and say, hey, first quarter of 2021, this is what it's looking like. And then go ahead and make your estimated tax payments on that. If you're like, I don't even know what my estimated tax payments are, then make sure that you go ahead and reach out, because this is something that a lot of business owners get penalized for. A lot of self-employed people, a lot of people that have self-employment income, you're getting hit with this penalty by just not making those payments every quarter, right? So you want to make sure that you go ahead and do that and avoid that penalty plus interest, y'all. All right. Contributions to your traditional or Roth IRA accounts. Okay, so if you still want to make contributions to your retirement account, your IRA, individual retirement account, whether traditional or Roth, you can actually do that before April 18th. After April 18th, you cannot do it for last year. So up until now, if you want to, max out your contribution for your retirement, for last year, 2021, go ahead and do that like now before April. Okay. I highly recommend for my higher income earners. This is a great way to, one, save for your retirement, two, a great way to get that retirement credit, and then three, also this is money that you don't have to pay taxes on if you have that traditional IRA account, right? You don't have to pay taxes on it right now. You pay it when you go ahead and take the money out later. So, it does have that huge tax savings. Another thing is the HSA account. So this is the deadline to open and fund an HSA account for 2021. So this is the health savings account. Another great tax incentive. If you're using it for healthcare expenses, you can literally fund this account. You can have this money go through to your medical co-pays and all that good stuff. And the great thing about it is you can use this money at any point in time. So if you don't use it all this year or next year, it will just roll over to the next year. So this is money that you're basically putting to the side to say, hey, whenever medical expenses or something come up, I have this bucket to pull from. You can, this is money that's growing in interest depending on what you have it invested in. So this is a huge incentive, and it's stuff, and it's an account that you have that tax incentive as well. All right, June 15th. So June 15th for all my U.S. citizens, resident aliens living and working outside of the U.S. or Puerto Rico, right? So you have until this day to go ahead and make sure that you file or you pay your taxes for your 1040 form. All right, y'all. After this date, it's like, it's pretty rough. Like you're subject to those penalties. So you want to make sure that you go ahead and do that. Quarter two of estimated tax payments is due on this date. So the quarter two includes your your April and May month as far as what you earned, and then you make your estimated tax payments based on that amount. All right. Q3, July to September. You do have September 15th is your third quarter for your estimated tax payment for the year. All right. So if you're a partnership, S Corp, and you requested an extension, now you have until that September 15th to go ahead and file your tax return as well. So if you did file that extension, your new tax filing date is that September 15th for my S Corps and partnerships. All right. For fourth quarter, October to December. October 17th is our deadline for individual tax returns. This is my LLCs, my regular 1040 people, my individuals, my C corporations. These are the returns that you extended past April 18th, and you said, hey, I need that extra 6 months to go ahead and file my taxes. All right, this is that deadline. So you do want to make sure that you get your taxes filed by this deadline, because after that, your taxes are late. All right. Now, December 15th is the deadline to go ahead and for corporations to go ahead and make that estimated tax payment. All right, the fourth quarter. Now, for tax penalties, like I kind of mentioned and preluded to before, as far as like, hey, you can have an extension to file your tax return, but it doesn't extend your late payment. So you do want to make sure on these deadline dates you're still making your tax payment by the deadline, because you're still subject to interest and penalty. All right. So the IRS gives a failure to pay penalty of 0.5% each month, or part of the month that is unpaid. So up to 25%. All right. So for example, if my taxes was due today, right? Oh shoot! Oh no, I didn't submit my taxes today, and now you have to you didn't file an extension to file or anything. You have your failure to pay penalty and you have your late payment penalty, right? Incurring at that 0.5%. So in 2 months from then, now you're doing, 0.5%. 2 months, now you're doing 1% of whatever the tax bill is supposed to be. That's just the penalty. All right. The penalty for filing late is 5% of your unpaid taxes from the filing date. So you have your failure to pay penalty of 0.5% for each month, and then you have your unpaid tax penalty. Your filing penalty of 5%. So that's your late filing. The amount that you're supposed to pay by that date is your failure to pay penalty. And they're at 25% max for the unpaid amount of taxes. It's the same for corporations. Even if the corporation would have reported like taxable income in the previous year, the IRS does charge 100% penalty once it's 60 days, more than 60 days late for corporations. All right. So for my estimated tax payments, those penalties work. It's 0.5% of the amount that you are of taxes that you are supposed to pay during that quarter. So once again, you do want to avoid those taxes by just coming up with the amount that you're supposed to pay in estimated tax payments throughout the year. This could, one, help you avoid the failure to pay penalty, because you already made those estimated tax payments every quarter. So now if you're due a refund, you don't have to worry about, oh shoot, my failure to pay, because you overpaid anyway. If you paid the right amount, then you don't have to worry about a failure to pay penalty, right? Because you already made sure that you're making those estimated tax payments. The issue relies on, hey, whether or not you're actually submitting the extension in time for that failure to file. So you do have to make sure that you do your extension for failure to file if you don't actually have time to submit it in time. All right. So with that being said, I did kind of I did went ahead and went over all the penalties and deadlines. You do want to make sure that you keep it in mind. If you do have any questions or concerns or anything like that, as far as the hello, Oluj, hello. Um, if you do have like questions and things like that, as far as what your penalties and your what you're subject to, because if you're an S corp in partnership and you haven't done your extension yet, like it's late at this point. But you want to make sure that you at least get something in, so that you can avoid um the accumulation of penalty and interest, right? So the quicker you get it done, the better, because as soon as it doesn't matter if it's in the middle of the month or if it's at the end of the month, you still get hit for the entire month. All right. As soon as that month start, already the penalty is already increasing. So this is how you go ahead and avoid that. So again, if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to us at Strategic Tax Accountant and strategictaxaccountants.com. Um, and I will see y'all next Tuesday for another episode of Financial Lit Tuesday, y'all. Thank you for joining me.